Glaze time! Glaze time! Glaze time! What is up, guys? It is glazing day. What does that mean for you? How are we going to paint our things, Mr. Gomez? How are we going to glaze it? How do we get our projects to be shiny? How do we get them to be matte? And what can we do to make our projects pop? Hopefully all of those questions are going to be answered in this video, and I hope you guys enjoy. We're going to talk about using 3 coats of our glazes to get it nice and shiny, but we're also going to talk about different ways that we can glaze our projects. Now, this one in specific is going to focus on our low fire or mid fire glazes, and these are the ones that you'll typically see in every classroom, the cheap ones that get the job done. All right, so hope you enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how I'm doing. All right, guys, so I'm in my kiln room. Of course, our students are not allowed here, but this is where my kiln lives. All right, what I'm going to show you guys is a chart by Scut. That is the kiln I am using. But when we are talking about our colors and glazes that we are going to use for our projects, this is what I'm talking about. So this is our Scut Ceramics product, KMT Firing Basics. This is basically all about our kiln. This is how I stack up the shelves. Just to make sure our projects aren't sticking to each other, and these are the little stilts we use whenever we are putting them underneath our project if we paint the bottom, but you do not paint the bottom. Right here we can see the chart of where the temperature reaches where we fire our projects. So we have a low fire white clay, or sorry, we have a white clay that's a B mix, and that gets fired at 05, which is 1,888 degrees. And it takes about like 30 hours to get there, only because I do about a 15-hour preheat in order to get rid of any more water that's in the clay, just to make sure nothing blows up. Now, our glazes are also a low fire. They go around this temperature as well. We have a higher graded porcelain clay that goes to about 5, and this is where our mid-range stoneware is at, and then where our mid-range glazes. These are our cone 5 glazes that change color once they are heated up. Now, our kiln is an electric one, so it does this. It has these coils that are on the inside. They heat up, and they will heat up the coils and heat up the whole thing inside. So you can see here that water becomes steam at 212 degrees. So this is where I kind of hold the heat and try to burn off any water so that the projects do not explode. But yeah, this is our temperature sheet. Right, so now I know some of you are gonna be like, what are we glazing today? What are you gonna glaze? This, the Maraca I've been holding on to for a while since summer, and we are gonna glaze him or her into something really nice, and I'm going to show you guys in detail how I want you guys to glaze this and make sure that it is glazed appropriately. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so we are at our glazing station. Now we have every color except for white today because we are running a little short on it, but this is our glaze station. We use Mako Stroke and Coats. Yep, right there, Mako Stroke and Coats. Now, every single color we have is on this little diagram here. The way it's broken down is like this, from red all the way to purple with the addition of brown, black, and white. Down here where it says 1, these are our glazes with 1 coat of paint, 2 coats of paint, and 3 coats of paint. Now, as we move up from the bottom to the top, you can see that 1 has a lot of texture, very scratchy, 2 is somewhat scratchy but smooth, and 3 is perfectly smooth with an opaque color in the actual project. All right, just the 3 differences. Now this makes a big difference once you guys are coating your projects, and we never glaze the bottom of our projects. The reason we do this is so our projects do not stick to my shelf. The shelves that we have inside of our kiln will cause it to get stuck. You can see a little glaze got stuck to the counter right there, and I can easily just pop that off. Now when you glaze the whole thing, I will have to break it off, and I don't want to do that. I do have some stands for you guys to use, but I am limited. So if you want to glaze a certain bottom, you just let me know and I will make sure we have the right size to hold it up. All right, so apply 3 coats of glaze, don't glaze the bottom, and let's get started. All right, so we are going to start with our palette. You're gonna come over here to the glaze station. Please take your turn. Don't take these bottles away from here. Everybody needs to use them, so make sure you guys are sharing. Now, if you aren't too sure what colors you're going to use, just pour a little bit. I would shake it a little bit. These haven't been moved since summer, so open that bottle cap up, all right? You can put your thumb there and pop it open. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this yellow, all right? And this is the last bottle of our red, so we need to be a little bit careful with it. Now for me, I am gonna use a lot of red, so I'm gonna make 3 pools of this red. Now, we don't have any white, so I'm gonna have to improvise when I do these pupils. I might do them yellow, I might do them orange, or who knows? Maybe I'll find some white laying around. But pour yourself enough glaze so that you can use it in one sitting, and it's okay to get back up and get some more. Now, to your left, you will see a variety of brushes. This one is called the fan brush. It will pick up a lot of paint and cover a lot of surface area on your projects. Really great. I'll go more into detail about these brushes later, but I'm going to grab this bad boy just to get us started. And I think that's it. We'll do this one. All right, so let's get started. Let's go over what we have in front of us. When you guys are at your desk, make sure you have some water. This is my brush. My paint is ready to go. I have a paper towel when I transition from the red to white so it doesn't get all messed up. I have my project ready to go, and then I have my sponge in case I need to wipe anything off. Now, I do have these little cards that are called Glaze cards. They are both in English and Spanish, and what this is so that you can remember to put your first coat, your second coat, and your third coat. You have to wait in between your coats in order for your layers to dry. I'll let you see what that looks like when it's dry and when it's wet. And I need you to learn what that looks like so you're not accidentally moving glaze around when you are glazing something. So let your glaze dry between each layer. Don't glaze the bottom, apply the 3 layers, let each layer dry before applying the next, okay? Great little reminder card and a great use of a laminated piece of paper so we can keep track of how many times we glaze. Because trust me, you're gonna be glazing for a couple days and you're gonna forget what layer you were on, right? The Spanish one is also the same with the same instructions. Now, I'm gonna start with my yellow. What I'm gonna do is I want to paint the inside of my seeds yellow. And it's okay to just dot that on there. What I'm doing is getting my seeds to have this nice little yellow. And I know what you're thinking, Mr. Gomez, you're making a mess with the glaze. And what I'm actually doing is getting it into all of these little crevices so that when I clean this off, it looks good. Right, and then I'm just gonna speed through this. All right, so this is a great technique to do when you guys are trying to get color into a crack. You first want to put it into that crack or crevice. Get a sponge, wet it nice like this, and what you're gonna do is, because it's already in the crack, we're just gonna wipe it off. Now I know you're thinking that's a waste of glaze, I know, but it's a great way to get that color in there. I don't know if you noticed, but I loaded up my brush and made sure that that paint got in there real nice and good. All right. Now we don't need to do 3 layers because I did do I did load up my brush with enough glaze that it would not need the 3 layers. And you can probably only do that with the cracks and stuff like this when you're trying to get those little details in there. All right, so I'm just cleaning up my strawberry guy. Don't worry too much if if the color spreads and you just want them in that crack. The reason why is because once we start adding this red, it's not gonna matter. It's gonna be like an extra coat that is good for it. I'm gonna transition to my red, so I'm gonna dip my brush and make sure to dry it out. Pick up my red, right? Get this side of the brush, get that side of the brush, and then I'm just going to very lightly go over. You see how it's not really getting into the yellow? You could use a littler brush to get those fine details in there, but that's completely up to you. I am just kind of getting the edge of stuff just so I don't get a lot of red and where the yellow's at. Okay, now I'm gonna speed this up and I'm going to switch over to a much more smaller brush so I don't accidentally mess up and get red in the yellow.
Right?
All right, now here is an example of what one coat looks like. A coat, once it's dry, will look ashy. All right, it'll look like this. If it's wet like that, that is still not dry. You have to wait until it looks ashy like this. Now, you can see right here that we have some wet spots, and you might want to say, hey, well, this is dry, right? This is dry, and this is fine. Maybe I'll just put another layer. Don't do that. A lot of people make that mistake. When you add another layer of glaze on top of that wet spot, what you're actually doing is moving that glaze to another section, and you're lifting up the glaze that's right there, that little layer, and you're pushing it somewhere else, which will leave you with a bald spot. All right, so we are on our second coat right here. As you can see, everything is completely dried out. I did wait another day. I had to leave the classroom, but I am going to do my second coat. All right, and that is my second coat complete. All right, we're gonna take a break and then put on the third coat. All right, see you guys. All right, so we are going to be doing our third layer on our strawberry, so let's get started. Now that we've done our third coat, what I'm gonna do is start to use the yellow to refill in the little gaps and then paint my top green. All right, so right here, I'm just going over the yellow and making sure that I am retouching them up so that they don't look too small and filling it up. Alright, so as I'm going over these spots, I am going to start to think about how I'm going to do this face. So I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow and orange to make the lips, and then I am going to paint in the pupils yellow, painting a little bit over that red that I accidentally got on there, and that should be fine. Alright, and then I'm going to start painting the bottom of these leaves. And don't be afraid to get under there with the brush because it will look great. Overlapping it is going to help you out a lot. I'm just getting the top, the stem, all that good stuff, and just make sure you do 3 layers on this as well. Alright, so right here I am just grabbing a little bit of black and mixing it with one of my greens to make a darker green. And I'm trying to get a nice little almost shadow effect for these leaves. I am going to paint over the lines I originally carved and then add little stems going out so that my leaf gets more detail on it. It looks more clean, and then that way it just looks way more put together than if I just leave it a solid green. Now this will be a very subtle effect. The more black you add, the better. It's going to give it a better dimension, a better line. So it's really up to you how you want to do these. I usually go with around 3 colors, but because this piece is a little bit more animated, I wanted to go with something simple. Now I'm getting my black and adding the pupil in there, just a very simple little pupil. I would highly recommend doing the 3 layers. Even though this is black, I would go over it at least 2 more times in order for it to be a really nice dark black. I'm going to add just a dot of yellow in the upper corners of each eye just to give it a little bit more character and reflection. Alright guys, I forgot to mention that I did paint the inside of his mouth just to give him a little bit more dimension, give him a little bit more character. Make sure you guys are doing those 3 layers. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. I'm super excited for these maracas. This is the first year we're doing this and can't wait to see them. So, see you guys in the next one. Alright guys, that concludes our video. I hope you liked it. Hope you liked our little maraca. This is how it came out looking. Alright, nice and dry. Now this hasn't been cooked in our kiln yet, so we shall see what the results look like later on in another video. But I hope you liked it, so please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys in the next one. Again, I'm Mr. Gomez, and you just watched Ceramics con Corazon. I will see you guys later.